Los Angeles and New York, two cities of dreams. But beneath the lights and legends, something ghostly lingers. From haunted hotels to forgotten graveyards, the past still whispers. Today, we bring 12 ghost legend stories back to life. 1. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. In the heart of Hollywood, nestled among the glitz and glamour of the Walk of Fame, stands a grand hotel that has seen nearly a century of legends come and go. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, built in 1927, was once the shining jewel of Tinseltown, home to red carpets, movie premieres, and the biggest stars of the silver screen. But behind its golden chandeliers and Spanish colonial revival walls lies a much darker and quieter legacy. A legacy of whispers in empty hallways, unexplained cold spots, and the lingering presence of Hollywood's most iconic spirits. Perhaps the most famous is Marilyn Monroe. During the height of her fame, she lived in room 1200, a cabana suite that overlooked the pool. Today, guests who stay in that room report strange reflections in the full-length mirror once owned by Marilyn. They say they've seen the faint outline of a blonde woman dressed in white, gazing back at them, then disappearing before their eyes. In the Blossom Room, where the very first Academy Awards were held in 1929, another spirit walks among the echoes of Hollywood's golden age. Montgomery Clift, the brooding star of classic cinema, stayed at the Roosevelt while filming From Here to Eternity. Staff and visitors claim to hear the sound of a trumpet playing softly down the hallway, and some say they've seen a figure pacing back and forth in room 928, where Clift once rehearsed lines late into the night. Elevators operate without command. Doors creak open in the middle of the night. Lights flicker even when the wiring is brand new. Some dismiss it as old architecture. Others know better. The Roosevelt isn't just a hotel. It's a memory frozen in time, one that refuses to fade. These spirits don't seek to scare. They linger because this place was their sanctuary, their stage, their last curtain call. And so, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel remains not only a monument to old Hollywood, but also a haven for the stars who never truly left the spotlight, even in death. 2. The Queen Mary, Long Beach. Moored in Long Beach, the RMS Queen Mary looks timeless. Once a glamorous transatlantic ocean liner and wartime troop ship, she's now a floating hotel and museum. But beneath her polished decks and Art Deco charm, something unsettling stirs. Whispers tell of at least 600 spirits roaming her narrow corridors. Guests on After Dark Haunted Encounters tours have reported cold spots, lights flicking on without reason, and doors creaking open as if moved by unseen hands. The most beloved ghost is Jackie, a little girl who drowned in the second-class pool at just 4 or 5 years old. Many swear they hear her laughter echoing from the drained pool or see her playing hide-and-seek along the balcony. One paranormal investigator spent 17 minutes communicating with her, even offering candy. Jackie reportedly answered and referred to him as Uncle. Another specter, John Henry, is said to haunt the boiler room. A crewman who died on the job, his apparition is spotted among machinery, and his spirit lingers in that mechanical underworld. Some people claim to arrive in the engine room fine and exit shaken, unable to explain sudden chills or odd sensations. Then there's cabins like B340, known for extreme paranormal activity. One guest from People magazine's Ghost Moms group reported motion sensors triggered, sudden shadowy forms, and that unsettling feeling you're not alone, even when rooms were empty. Throughout the ship, guests tell of phantom footsteps, whispering voices, flickering lights, and furniture that moves on its own. Some believe these sightings are mere entertainment, fueled by the ship's haunted tours. But others insist, we came for the history. We stayed for the ghosts. The Queen Mary isn't just history. She's a living relic soaked in memory and mystery. Beneath her decks lie stories of luxury and war, life and loss. And above all, she reminds us that sometimes the past refuses to sail away. Which legend would you dare to explore next? Jackie's laughter? The boiler room's chill? Or the sealed door of room B340? Comment below, and if you're brave, don't forget to like and subscribe for more haunted tales. 3. The White Lady of Astoria. In the old neighborhoods of Astoria, Queens, there is a tale whispered among the locals, the legend of the White Lady. As evening falls, a soft glow can be seen drifting through narrow, empty streets, a figure dressed in antiquated white, her hair pinned in an elegant bun. They say she walks with a purpose, guiding the lost and protecting children in need. The story begins in the late 1700s. Elizabeth Howlett, a devoted mother and wife, lived a peaceful life until tragedy struck. Her husband and 2 young children were killed during a violent slave uprising. Grief-stricken and heartbroken, Elizabeth fled with her remaining child, but was swept into the turbulent Hellgate waters and drowned. Her death became the origin of the White Lady's sorrowful vigil. Since then, sightings have occurred during quiet, foggy evenings. Witnesses describe a tall, serene woman in white, a comforting presence, not a frightening one. She gently holds the hand of a small child, leading them along the street. Some passers-by report the soft scent of lavender trailing behind her, as if she's carrying a memory of home. One woman recalled walking home alone when the air grew still and cold. Suddenly, she felt warmth at her side and saw the White Lady guiding her, invisible yet unmistakably real. By the time the woman reached her porch, the figure had vanished, leaving only the scent of lavender and a deep sense of peace. The White Lady of Astoria isn't a restless spirit. She embodies love and protection. Her presence is a reminder that even in loss and tragedy, the bonds of motherhood and kindness can transcend death. She remains a guardian of the neighborhood, forever watching over those in need. 4. The Little Drummer Boy, Staten Island. In the peaceful yard of St. Andrew's Church in Richmond Town, Staten Island, a mysterious rhythm sometimes echoes through the still night air. Locals whisper of the Little Drummer Boy, a young spirit whose beat never faded, even after his untimely death during the Revolutionary War. Back in the late 18th century, it was common for young boys to serve in military camps as drummers, keeping morale high and soldiers in step. One such boy, believed to be no older than 10, was stationed alongside American troops encamped near the church. One fateful evening, while performing his duty, he was tragically caught in crossfire and shot. They buried him in the churchyard, his small grave marked by a modest headstone. Yet even in death, his spirit lingered. On quiet nights, visitors have reported hearing the gentle rat-tat-tat of a snare drum, echoing among the tombstones, as if the boy were rehearsing for another parade. Some claim to have seen a small figure dashing between gravestones, a silhouette in period clothing holding a diminutive drum. Others felt sudden chills or sensed someone tapping a soft beat at their back while seated in the church pews. The Little Drummer Boy is not a spirit of fear, but one of remembrance. His lingering beat reminds us of youthful sacrifice, of courage found in even the smallest hands. And so, under the moonlit branches of St. Andrew's, the echoes of his drumbeat still speak to those who listen. 5. The Van Courtland Silver Maid, Van Courtland Park. Deep in the heart of Van Courtland Park, Bronx, stands the remains of a grand 18th-century mansion once owned by one of New York's wealthiest families. But amid the overgrown lawns and silent halls, a tragic echo remains, the legend of the Van Courtland Silver Maid. The mansion's servant quarters tell a sad tale. A young maid, known only as the Silver Maid, worked tirelessly for the family. One evening, driven by desperation and longing, she stole a small set of silver cutlery, likely hoping to escape her harsh life. But before she could be gone, fate caught up with her. She vanished under mysterious circumstances. Some say she died, others claim she fled and never returned. Since then, witnesses have reported rustling skirts and the gentle clinking of silverware in the eerily quiet rooms, especially on the second floor where servants once lived. Some even describe a faint silhouette of a young woman in colonial-era dress, her eyes full of sorrow as she searches endlessly for her lost silver. On chilly evenings, visitors say the hallways feel suddenly cold, as if a presence has slipped through. Others mention a subtle scent of aged wood or sense someone brushing past them in empty corridors, a reminder that the Silver Maid's remorse lives on within these walls. The Van Courtland Silver Maid is not a spirit of vengeance, but one of regret. She reminds us that even small actions carry weight, and that a single moment of longing can echo through time. In the stillness of that old mansion, her search continues, a restless heart seeking forgiveness. 6. Martha Misero, Old Bermuda Inn, Staten Island. In the historic heart of Staten Island, the Old Bermuda Inn stands quietly among whispering trees. A beloved spot for gatherings, weddings, and celebrations, but within its walls lingers a heart-wrenching tale. The spirit of Martha Misero, a young bride whose love turned to sorrow during the Civil War. Martha once waited patiently by the window, gazing down the road each evening, hoping her husband Peter would return from war. She wore a pristine white Victorian gown and kept vigil until her health faded. But Peter never came back. He was lost on the battlefield, and Martha quietly passed away in that very room, still waiting. Guests and staff report glimpses of a woman in a flowing white dress drifting through hallways, pausing at windows as though searching for someone. Doors have been known to open on their own, and cold spots appear when no breeze touches the room. Some say you might hear soft footsteps on creaky floorboards late at night, followed by a faint sigh. Others describe an unexplained feeling of someone standing by the window, watching the empty road where she once waited. Her presence is more sorrowful than scary. She's the lingering echo of a devoted wife who could never let go. At the Old Bermuda Inn, Martha Misero's spirit reminds us that love, loss, and loyalty don't die with us. They remain, in memory and in spirit. 7. Pegle Pete, Peter Stuyvesant. In Manhattan's East Village stands St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, one of the city's oldest houses of worship. Beneath its stately facade lies a secret, the vault of Peter Stuyvesant, the last Dutch governor of New Amsterdam, and a spirit locals know as Pegle Pete still walks its halls. Stuyvesant, who lost a leg to cannon fire and replaced it with a wooden peg studded with silver, was buried under the old family chapel that once stood here. He died in 1672, and not long after, visitors and sextons reported hearing unmistakable tap-tap echoes of the governor's peg leg clattering down the aisles. Legend says on moonlit nights, his ghost still appears in Dutch colonial attire, stomping through nave and pews, sometimes even swinging the massive church bell rope, rousing the neighborhood with no explanation. One sexton was so terrified he fled when he saw a peg-legged figure slip through the locked doors. In the 19th century, angry at the city's growth, Stuyvesant's spirit allegedly disrupted construction and forged ahead ringing the bell, a defiant echo of his irritation with change. Parishioners have also heard him muttering Dutch hymns late at night, a final protest against the Anglican traditions now practiced in his old church. Though these stories fade in modern times, the tap of a wooden peg and sudden tolls of the bell are still reported. Whether it's history whispered rather than seen, Stuyvesant's presence remains, an enduring link to New York's Dutch past, refusing to leave even as centuries pass by. 8. The Millennium Biltmore Hotel, Los Angeles. In the heart of downtown Los Angeles lies the iconic Millennium Biltmore Hotel. Opened in 1923, this grand structure once hosted Academy Award ceremonies, political gatherings, and the glitterati of old Hollywood. But beyond its opulent lobbies and lavish ballrooms, whispers of the uncanny persist. One of the most chilling legends here is that of Elizabeth Short, the woman known as the Black Dahlia. She was last seen alive at the Biltmore on January 9, 1947, before her brutal murder sent shockwaves through LA. Since then, guests and staff have described eerie sightings on the 10th and 11th floors where her restless spirit is said to wander. Visitors report shadowy figures pacing empty corridors, formal attire flickers in dim lighting, and elevators operating as if summoned by unseen hands. One bell captain noted a woman in a 1940s dress walking through the lobby and disappearing into thin air, never acknowledging passersby. But it's not only Elizabeth Short who walks these halls. A ghostly little boy is often heard laughing or running across the 10th floor lounge. On the 2nd floor, a phantom nurse has been seen drifting quietly. Guests have described sudden cold spots, rattling doors, and a pervasive sense of being watched. In the historic ballroom, late-night visitors recall soft piano music echoing through empty chairs and swaying chandeliers, as if reliving a long-past gala. Some say the hotel seems to pulse with the energy of its roaring 20s heyday. Whether seeking fame, romance, or history, those who stay leave with more than memories. They leave with a story. The Biltmore endures as a monument not just to Los Angeles' golden era, but to the spirits who refuse to be forgotten. 9. The Cecil Hotel, downtown Los Angeles. In the shadow of downtown Los Angeles, the Cecil Hotel stands, a grand building with a dark and troubled past. Opened in 1924, it saw glamorous guests in its early years, but over time it declined into a place marked by tragedy, death, and enduring mystery. Known as a hotspot for suicides and violent incidents, the Cecil earned nicknames like the Suicide Hotel. During its years as a Skid Row boarding house, it became infamous for the disappearance and death of guests, including the notorious Night Stalker Richard Ramirez, who stayed there in the 1980s. Many guests and employees have reported strange encounters, voices echoing through empty hallways, doors opening and slamming shut by themselves, and elevator lights flickering inexplicably. Some speak of seeing apparitions in the stairwells and a sense of unease that permeates the corridors. Perhaps the most haunting story is that of a mysterious body found in the rooftop water tank in 2013. The circumstances were never fully explained, and the incident only deepened the hotel's chilling reputation. Despite a 2021 conversion into an affordable housing complex, the hotel has retained its eerie energy. New residents sometimes mention hearing footsteps late at night, unease in the hallways, or glimpses of shadowy figures, remnants of its past haunting the present. The Cecil Hotel serves as a stark reminder. Some buildings carry the weight of their history. Its walls absorbed joy and violence alike, and in that silence, stories, and possibly spirits, continue to linger. 10. The John Saen House, Los Feliz, Los Angeles. In the quiet, upscale neighborhood of Los Feliz stands one of Los Angeles's most unsettling landmarks, the John Saen House. Built in 1926 and designed by Lloyd Wright, its Mayan Revival facade resembles a wide-open stone jaw, earning it the nickname the Jaws House. Its haunting architecture is only the beginning of what makes this home legendary. Though originally commissioned by artist John Saen, the house gained infamy when Dr. George Hodel purchased it in the 1940s. Hodel was later accused by his own son, former LAPD detective Steve Hodel, of being the prime suspect in the brutal Black Dahlia murder. Steve believes Elizabeth Short was tortured and killed inside the Saen house's basement, and that her remains may have been disposed of on the property. No official excavation has been conducted, but the rumors persist. Visitors claim to hear whispers in the basement, footsteps where no one walks, and a heavy sense of dread in certain corners of the house. The stone walls seem to hold secrets too dark to speak aloud. In its time, the house also hosted extravagant parties filled with artists, musicians, and the Hollywood elite. But even at its liveliest, guests have recalled odd sensations, flickers of shadow in the courtyard, cold spots in the hallways, and a sense that someone, or something, was watching. Modern visitors describe fleeting shadows, sudden drops in temperature, and strange resistance in the air, as if being pushed back by an invisible force. The central courtyard, with its narrow walkways and looming walls, feels like a maze designed for spirits to hide in. The John Saen house remains one of Los Angeles's most mysterious places. A chilling blend of stunning architecture and alleged violence, it's a house where beauty and darkness live side by side. And if the spirits of its past linger here, they're not done telling their story. The Entity House, Culver City, Los Angeles. In a quiet Culver City neighborhood sits an ordinary-looking home at 11547 Braddock Drive, the infamous Entity House. In the 1970s, its tenant, Doris Byther, and her children experienced horrifying events that shook even paranormal researchers to their core. By August 1974, Doris reported being physically attacked by unseen forces, objects flying, doors slamming, drawers ripping open by themselves. Investigators Carrie Gaynor and Barry Taff from UCLA witnessed balls of light, heavy cold spots, and foul odors during there. In one chilling incident, investigators saw a green mist coalesce into a floating torso, brutal, unexplainable, and deeply unsettling. Other evidence included eerie photographs of light arcs, but skeptics argue they're just exposure errors. Doris and her oldest son also described spectral rape and attacks by multiple unseen entities. Though these violent incidents occurred before investigators arrived, the house remained active, with pans flying and furniture moving for weeks. The Entity House challenges everything we think we know about the paranormal. Is it a house, or was Doris herself the source of the energy? The truth remains elusive, but the fear she faced still echoes through its walls. 12. The final, the Hollywood sign ghost, Peg Entwistle. High above the glitter of Hollywood, the iconic Days Gone By symbol of dreams stands silently over Griffith Park. But beneath the bright letters lies a darker story, that of a young actress named Peg Entwistle, whose spirit is said to haunt this legendary landmark. Peg Entwistle arrived in Los Angeles in 1932, full of hope after a promising Broadway career. She signed a small role in 13 Women, but after much of her part was cut and she lost her contract, she fell into despair. On September 16, 1932, she climbed a ladder up to the top of the H in the Hollywood land sign and jumped to her tragic death. Her body was found the next day, along with her suicide note signed simply P.E. The news shocked the city, and the sign's now absent land soon became a silent memorial to her lost ambition. Since the 1940s, hikers, joggers, and park staff have reported ghostly sightings. A woman in 1930s attire moving above the sign or along the trails, vanishing without a trace. Many also tell of faint footsteps, a melancholy sigh, or the unmistakable scent of gardenias, her favorite perfume. On one foggy night, a group of friends saw a pale figure gliding near the H, her feet never touching the ground. One ranger said, "She seemed to almost glide. There was something very, very strange about her. Could Peg's spirit be replaying her final walk on eternal loop? Or is it the lingering echo of heartbreak on this hill of dreams? Either way, the Hollywood sign doesn't just mark a place. It illuminates a faded life that still shimmers in the night's shadows. 12 legends, 2 cities, and countless whispers from the past. If these ghost stories gave you chills, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time, because the dead are never truly silent.